probably a lot of you started thinking a little bit differently right now regards to what's happening in the market. My name is Sham, this is 0x5, and shit is about to get real. So there's a few things I'm going to explain here, and I want you all to understand. Some of these things I'm going to talk about is related to the live stream we did yesterday. I don't want anybody to have any misconceptions. I'm going to actually say things about what we said yesterday and clarify a few bits and bobs. And as for the title of today's video, I'm going to point a few things out, and I want everybody to be very serious about what I'm saying, because if you don't, then you're going to be hit hard if something happens. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's going to happen, I'm saying if something happens. So without any further ado, let's get into this video and let's talk about exactly what's happening and why the title is what the title is, right? And then we can get into some of this stuff. So let's start off the video with some cheers, right? And let's be all jolly. Yesterday's video, I was talking about what if the market did something. What if the market went to a certain level and everything became all parabola? You know, what if we lasted another 6 months? What if we lasted another year? And I've had a couple of questions come up to me regarding this as well. One brother asked, how long do we think it will go and what are the numbers out there? And I would like to kind of talk about it because it is kind of hilarious how some people are throwing different numbers. So there are people out there who are throwing 2-3 months, right? I'm one of those as well. So I'm in that same category of 2-3 months, possibly 4 months. There are other people who are throwing 6 months to 10 months, okay, which is a good number. Listen, if we are wrong and it lasts for 6 months to 10 months, by all means, why not, right? I'd rather take that, and I'll say, do you know what, I'm wrong. But we cannot confirm anything 100%. Remember this, guys. So whatever you hear, whatever some influencer says to you or whatnot, just take it with a pinch of salt. That's all I'm going to say, right? Because I'm being transparent here. Not everybody else is going to be transparent like me. So what we have to be transparent about is we do not know the future. It could last another month. It could last another 10 months. It could last another year. Now, talking about that, the most hilarious one I had was where somebody has done some maths and says, oh, you know, when we dipped recently and we went towards the 40, I think we went just around $49,000. They've calculated from that and they're saying we have another 4 years remaining. Yeah, maybe for the next bull run, but this is someone who's thinking 4 years. That means this bull run would have lasted us, what, 5, 6 years, 7 years, God knows how long, right? So this would definitely be one of the longest bull run ever, if what they said is true. And ultimately it is true. Funny thing is, it is true, but what they're not realizing is everything has to come to an end at some stage in order for us to start accumulating and rebalancing out the market, because the market cannot go one direction. Of course it is technically going one direction because we've never had the previous lows. We've never had those. We've always had new lows, right? So over time we have gone to higher numbers, come back down and rebounded off a brand new low, right? So the lows are higher, so that's a good thing, right? So yes, there are so many crazy numbers out there, but again, on that particular message, somebody else replied something, so we are going to talk about this because this is getting quite serious right now. So we know recently there was an election, and during the election Donald Trump won, right? Kamala Harris or whoever lost, right? And there's been a lot of conspiracies going around that, around the fact who Kamala Harris is, where her background is from, what her religion is, what her culture is, so many different kind of things, right? But we're not going to look at any of those because they don't matter, right? We're talking about the guy in power right now. And by the way, guys, if there is anything else you want me to talk about, because I don't want to make this video too long, right? I'm doing this live so it doesn't take too long to upload. My name is Sham, this is 0x5, the truth is always out there. If you are new to the channel, please do hit that like button, at least subscribe, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and let's grow the community, right? So I'm going to go into Biden because I you know, that was the only thing that came to me so I could answer that. If there is anything else you wanted to ask, fire away, not a problem. Actually, yes, I do have one other thing, right? So I wanted to clear out some of the misconceptions about yesterday. So what I'm saying is, guys, yesterday what I said, I think I've already said a little bit, but I'm going to say this again, right? I am not saying we're going to go to $10 trillion. I am not saying we're going to go to $9 trillion or whatever and then the market's going to blow off. No, I did not imply that at all. So please, please, please do not take this the wrong way. It's a question that we can ask ourselves, what if, right? And if things worked out the way we want it, of course we could have a $50 trillion market, right? Probably even more. but there is no certainty of it being the absolute. That's all I'm trying to say here. So do take everything with a pinch of salt. Now I want to get into this Joe Biden stuff, right? So Joe Biden, everybody knows he's about 79, 80 years old, literally a man, you know, past his age, right? Let's just say the average age past that. So he's literally got one foot in the grave right now, and he's due to leave office very soon, I think in January. Salam, my brother. So he is due to leave the office around January, right, when Trump takes over, basically, or something like this. This is how the US politics works. It's not immediate, right? And his last act that he's doing right now is he's literally said, you know what, I'm going to order NATO to go out there and basically launch some missiles towards Russia, right, from Ukraine or whatever. And I'm only giving you bits and bobs, like pretty vaguely. There's a big reason behind this, because I don't trust all the media, please understand, but I'm just giving you what I understood so far. And we know that some things are true, some things probably not, depending on which side they are, if they're far left or far right. The stories change, right? So we're not going to go there, but we're just going to stick to the facts, right? And the facts, we know that this man is 80 something, probably close to 80, right? And he's about to die anytime soon, right? So, you know, he falls asleep. This guy literally falls asleep, right? So again, if KR, you're here, bro, get on the live stream. If you can't message on the live stream, not a problem, then carry on messaging me on Discord or whatever, not an issue. So what was I saying? So yeah, this man's literally like one foot in the grave. He's about to go, and his last act that he's going to do, the last legacy he wants to leave, right, is create something big. Now, funny thing is, prior to him ordering NATO to go and fire some missiles from Ukraine into Russia, what's his name, Putin did mention something about this not long ago, right? There is an actual interview of him where he kind of talked about it on the news, and he said, look, if USA does give these missiles to Ukraine, and they do fire from there towards us, that's war on USA. Right, that's basically war being declared. So it's an act of war, basically. Let's just put it this way. So an act of war has been done. Now the question is what, right? What will happen? Because look, this has been brewing forever. This Ukraine war has been dragging forever, right? It's been dragging forever. And the worst part is, right, from this war, I mean, who are dying? The people. The people. I mean, I've always said this: you want to have a war, go into a boxing ring and box it out, right? Leaders, go in and let's see who's tougher than who, right? Why bring the people in? So here are people are suffering, and now I see that basically this act of war, let's just say, you know, there's a war going on anyway, but this crazy stuff going on where two superpowers want to go against each other, right? Of course, already they've been trying to show the force and show whatever, like how much muscle they've been trying to flex their muscle, but regardless whether they flex their muscles or not, right, because now they're dragging people in. And I think if something does go wrong, right, because look, let's put it this way, USA, the allied countries, you know, or whatever, NATO countries, or whatever, the G7, whatever you want to call it, they're all trying to take out, and I'm going to get to you, KR, give me a second, right? This is serious, right? So we're not going to talk about how many gains you made, because what I'm about to tell you is going to be very serious. So you need to understand this, right? And everybody else that's watching this right now, please take me seriously, because if you're not, then later on you're going to regret it. What I'm trying to say is a strategy for you to plan for what could potentially happen. This black swan thing I've been talking about, said, look, the only thing that could actually affect us right now, right, is a parabola that could end the market, or a black swan could drown everybody. So what you all need to understand is how to protect yourself in the market, because listen, a war breaks out around the world, everybody jumps in, all these allied countries or whatever, all these partner countries, right, trade partners or whatever you want to call it, all of the deals they've made, the under the table deals, right, we protect you, you protect me, if I go to war, you make sure you come and back me up, all of that kind of stuff, right? And listen, I'm not a political guy, but right now I'm being very, like, I'm going to point out some stuff, and I'm not a political guy. And so what I'm saying is the consequences of what might happen, right? So if everybody's dragged into a war, what will happen to your financial system, right? Your bank accounts, your this, your that, what will happen? So let's understand this, right? If we end up going into a situation, I'm not saying we're going to have a World War III. Come on, listen, I'm just being honest here. I'm not saying we're going to have that, but there's no harm in being prepared for the worst case scenario, right? There's no harm in being prepared for the worst case scenario. So for me, that's what I'm trying to say here. So please just bear with me and let's go to this, right? So if for whatever reasons, right, for whatever reasons, a war breaks out and other countries get dragged in, right? And remember, guys, let me just stop here for a second. This is related to crypto, right? So even though I'm talking about global politics here, it's crypto. So please do understand this, right? Okay, so if something breaks out, right, because you're poking a bear and the bear's going to wake up, whether the bear wins or the hunter wins doesn't matter, but ultimately, you know, what USA definitely wants right now, what America wants, what Biden probably wants, is they want Putin out, right? Come on, let's just be honest about it. They want Putin out. So if they do take out Putin, whatever, by all means, that means there's going to be a war. And when that happens, you're talking about two countries with nukes, right? God knows who's going to press what. If that happens, what happens to your infrastructure? What happens to your cryptocurrency? What happens to your Bitcoin? I mean, there are plenty of scenarios out there. So got to think about all of those things. The way I'm looking at it is, if something goes out, there will be an emergency alert, right? And if there's an emergency alert out there, financial systems and all sorts of other stuff, we might have a global pause. If we have a global pause, then your cryptocurrency and everything else could also be affected. Also looking at censorships as well. A lot of the time you might have blackouts, internet blackouts, or even the war, right? There's already been a technical World War III going on for God knows how long, right? And it's in the cyber world, right? So there's been cyber attacks going on, one country attacking another, XYZ happening all day long, right? That could be far more serious. So think about that. This is what I'm trying to say here. So just please think about this, right? Because if they can take out infrastructures, right, through you know, hacking and whatnot, imagine what happens when everyone, you know, you have high-tech weapons and high-tech gear, and we have everything online right now. Imagine what will happen. So what I'm asking you guys to do is prep for that, right? And believe me, even your stop loss doesn't matter that time. If your infrastructure's turned off, if London goes into a blackout, right, what are you going to do? Yes, your mobile phones might still have some battery juice in there. You'll be fine with that. But if there's a freaking blackout with all your mobile antennas, or your internet routers, everything's going to be switched off. What are you going to do? Do you see what I'm trying to say? Understand the whole scenario here. So this is what I'm trying to say here, guys. That we have to look at the worst case scenario of what's happening, and we have to have in the back of our minds that what if the world breaks out into a war? What is the situation, and how are we going to react to this? That's what I'm saying here. And I'm going to get to the hyped up coins as well, right? So what I'm saying is have a plan. Please have a plan in hand. Like, okay, I'm going to go into cash, I'm going to go into gold, whatever, right? You know, a lot of people are, I'm going to go into gold. Yeah, fine. How much gold you going to spend? Because if someone says I want a bar of gold, whatever needs to be happened, just prepare. That's all I'm trying to say. It's not war. I'm not saying there's a war breaking out, but I'm saying we could have some disruptions in the system, right? And maybe some of these disruptions will come back and impact the market. And I'm not talking about just crypto, I'm talking the entire financial markets, right? Because crypto is financial. I don't care how much the government likes to call it cryptocurrency and separate it, Financial Conduct Authority or FCA, whatever, you know, they want to separate it, right? SEC, they want to separate crypto from finance. No, it is finance. People make money from it. Right, you come in, you make money from it. It's good as gold, right? It's good as money for us, right? So if the financial infrastructures are impacted, by the way, guys, I hope the audio is good, right? I'm not quite sure if the audio is any good or not. So the financial situation, like everything gets impacted, then we need to have some sort of a solution in hand where we can protect ourselves, right? Because we're coming to that point where someone's going to try and do something. And here's the fun part, right? Here's the fun part of all of this. None of this may even happen. None of this may even be real. Remember what I said earlier on, right? The left, there's far left, far right, all of this in the politics and the news corporations, they're different stories, right? None of this may be true. This may all be a complete farce, right? They're probably using some old clips of Putin talking about this from way back when, right? But the point is this could be here to create some sort of a panic in the market. So again, if the panic works, whatever reason, someone decides to pull out, right? What happens? Everybody gets affected. So stop losses are a good idea, but just saying, worst case scenario, they might not come in handy, but have a plan, guys. That's all I want you to do. Have a plan. right? So that's the only thing I wanted to say. But it's quite sad that this situation did happen, and it's happening right now. I mean, if listen, people want to fight it out, countries want to fight it. I mean, country, we you know, before 19 something, I can't even remember. We didn't even have, I think, no, sorry, not 19. It was 17 or 18 something, right? I actually can go back and make a note of all the dates, right? And you're gonna freak out, right? You know, we didn't have countries. We had regions. We've never had like the lines. These lines are all the imperial lines. All of these lines that you see there, all these countries and segregations that you see, all these empires or whatever you want to call them right now, they're just drawn by the the imperial rulers that we've had, past couple of 100 years, right? That's what it was. That's who drew the lines. That's how they became countries. Estates literally became countries. Right? Of course, United States of America still has its states, right? And you never know, maybe tomorrow California decides to become a country, and by all means they can. Technically, if they say we want to become a country, they can become a country. So imagine what lines can do, right? So I'm just pointing something out. I'm not saying that's the case, right? But just have some sort of a situation. Now, so going into the thing, so I'm not gonna go any longer on this, because I think I've put my message forward. I want you guys to look for the worst of the worst scenario and have a plan ready for that. That's all I'm asking, nothing else, right? I'm not asking you to go and harm yourself, go and do whatever and panic and sell everything and get out. No, be prepared. That's what I'm trying to say, right? Okay, fine. Now let's go into cryptocurrency, some of these massive pumps that we're seeing. Now, if you are in cryptocurrency, and I've said this before as well, right? If you're investing with Solana, if you're investing with BNB, if you're investing with BTC, if you're investing with Ethereum, what I mean is you buy a particular asset with BTC, with Ethereum, with Solana, with Binance, right? Whatever the coin is, you buy that. You must be expecting your returns back in that same coin, and of course, more than you invested. That's what I'm saying. If you invest in a stable coin, expect it back in that stable coin. Of course, if you've made 100%, then great, your $100 become $200, right? So same way, if you put, say, 0.1 BTC, just for the sake of this video, right? You put 0.1 BTC, well, you should receive back 0.1, if not 0.05 or whatever, but at least more than you've invested. That's what I'm trying to say. Because what I've noticed is sometimes when you're playing with a specific coin, so say for example you're playing with Solana, and Solana starts to move as well, and I'm going to explain this. When Solana starts to move as well, you realize that the other coin has also done 100%, but you're not receiving the same amount that you put in. And there's a big reason behind this. When these coins are launched, they're priced in the US dollar value, but they're paid or pegged with the Solana. And that's it. That's the disconnection, right? So it's not that anymore. Now the coin has to prove itself with the market structure, market cap, whatever. The more buyers, the more sellers, whatever you got, right, with the volume, it will prove itself and it will increase in value. So technically it can overtake Solana. So there could be some sort of a meme coin out there, right, which is 10 times more worth than Solana itself, and it could have launched at 0.0001 Solana per coin. So you see what I'm saying? So if there's demand, these coins can overtake, hence why they are not pegged to that price. So if you saw something for 0.01 Solana, for example, it's not going to stay there. It doesn't follow that. It follows the dollar value. That's what I'm trying to say here. So do understand this. Now there are plenty of coins. KR, who's actually on the chat right now, he has been posting a lot of stuff on Discord, and they have been doing good. Now he's mentioned a coin called Simon. Yes, I've held Simon's. When he first shared it with me, I held that, and then I dumped it when Solana started to move. And then when Solana settled down again, was it yesterday, the day before yesterday, I went back in again. So similar way, there are a few coins that I've bought, I've held, only with money I could afford to lose. So what I'm talking about, half a Solana, maybe one Solana, depending on how I feel or how much excess I have, right? So if gone in, just left that there, I'm not saying anything else, and just see what happens. If it goes down, it goes down, right? So there has been one or two coins that haven't performed. They've literally gone down to nothing. In fact, one of them even pulled all the liquidity. Fine. right? It's money I've invested I can afford to lose. So I'm not really worried about that. And then there are other coins that I've bought, left there, they didn't perform that well. And then all of a sudden they've done 1200%, 1300%, maybe 10x, right? So when I saw it was 10x, the coin I'm talking about, I saw it do 10x. Then when I saw it again, it was like 5x. Then when I saw it again, it was like 3x. And I was like, oh, is it worth it? Then I looked at my Solana value and I looked at the, it was about 400% from like today's pump. However, I was only getting back around, I think it was about 40% more then, so it wasn't even 100% of what I invested. I was getting 40% more. I was like, I'll get 400% pump. I'm only getting 40% more Solana. So is it worth it? So I said, leave it. Right, leave it. It doesn't matter. Maybe it does something tomorrow. So for me, I'm not concerned because it's only like half a Solana. I'm not that bothered. So those are the kind of things you have to look at, right? So this is one of the reasons why I'm quite adamant. Yes, get in, invest, make a shit ton of money. I want everybody to make money. I want everybody to make profit. But when you make profit, make sure if you do 5x, 10x, whatever, cash out, guys, cash out. And also look at if you've gone in with Solana, if you've gone in with Binance, or if you've gone in with Ethereum, if you've gone in with BTC, make sure you get double the quantity of what you put in, because that's your profit. Because if you not doing that, forget looking at the dollars. What's wrong with you? You should have been trading with dollars in the first place if you want to do dollars. Do you know what I mean? So don't look at the dollar value. That's all I'm saying, right? Other than that, let me have a look at the chats and see what the chats are saying, right? So done a 10x, I'm in same category. I don't know what he's talking about. He said something about category for 2-3 months. I have no idea what category you're talking about. Please be a little bit more concise about what you're saying, because I need to understand. But listen, this video is not about doom and gloom. It's not about, oh, this is going to end, it's all bloodshed and this and that. And you know, like sometimes we talk about how in the past certain things happen and we can say there are similarities, right? We don't connect the dots, but there are some similarities and we can learn from past history. So when it comes to crypto, we can learn from the previous performances or previous downsides or upsides that we've had. We can learn certain things and we can apply that and say, well, if that was the case, then it could be something very similar right now as well, and maybe in the future. Not an absolute, not exactly the same, you know, but there may be some similarities. And if that happened then, and you know, maybe it did tenfold, right? It might do onefold this time, but whatever the case is, it's a sign. It like gives us a rough idea of what to expect. So when I'm seeing crazy ass, you know, people poking each other, leaders of the globe poking each other, it leaves me, believe me, I swear to God, there is so much I want to say, but I know what YouTube's going to do. I know what everyone else is going to do, hence why I'm not saying it. I've got so much inside me I want to say, right? But I'm not saying it because if I do, they'll strike the video, they ban me, they'll probably cancel me out completely. So you've got to understand this, right? Because you know, things I will say will sound like as if I hate politics completely. To a certain point, I don't like politics. I don't hate it, but I don't like it either. Do you know what I mean? Because I haven't seen politics do anything good for the people. Do you know what I mean? And that just, no, I haven't. Every politician that's come into power has had some sort of a motivation for themselves, right? Or whatever their party or whatever their agenda was, right? And I haven't seen anybody come and preach peace and actually be in peace, right? We need to see peace. Do you know what I mean? Because, oh, I mean, what could this globe be if we didn't have borders? Think about it. Then nobody's an alien, because now we have this thing where it's like you have borders, and if somebody wants to cross over the border, well, you're not a citizen, you're an alien. Do you know what I mean? Right? Refugees, I'm sure that term didn't exist. Even 1,000 years ago, that didn't exist. There was no such thing as refugees. We have diasporas, which are different, right? People who have moved away from their countries going elsewhere, right? I'm part of a diaspora as well. That's where my heritage comes from. But the point is, right? That's a diaspora. It's not a refugee. You're not a refugee. But now all of a sudden you've got refugees and whatnot. What's going on? I mean, back in the days you had slaves. I mean, there was slaves and then a big jump to refugees. There's nothing in between. What's going on here? Why? As I said, there's so much I want to say, but I'm not saying it. Maybe on another video or something, I'll say something. Anyway, guys, if you have a question, let me know, because I could easily get heated up and probably end up saying something wrong. Was there any other questions? I think there was another question. I can't remember. By the way, guys, my name is Sham. This is Zero X Fine. If you're here for the first time, I know you're probably listening to me and you're probably wondering what the hell is this guy talking about. He's probably having a go at Biden. He's probably having a go at Putin or whatever. Listen, I'm not having a go at anybody. All I'm saying is if these guys want to have a go at each other, get into a boxing ring and box it out, right? Let's see who's the real man. Do you know what I mean, right? Don't hide behind your missiles and your nukes and this and that. Don't threaten each other. Don't try and drag everybody else in. And everybody else that's ever going to go in, they're fools as well, right? They're absolute fools. For what? Trade deals and whatnot. All these undercover deals you got, under the table deals you got. For that, you guys going to go and fight? Seriously? So, anyway, I'm not going to say anything else, because I said if I do, then yeah, I'm sure I'm gonna get hated on a lot. But anyway, look, market's sitting at 3.018, so yeah, about just over $3 trillion. Looking good, to be honest. I'm not really complaining. BTC sitting at 92,300 and whatever. Not concerned. Earlier on today, we did create a brand new all-time high, I believe. We went to 93,600 or 700. Again, just off the top of my head, that's where we went. So far, so good. In order for other coins to start moving, alts, especially alts, I'm not talking about meme coins, right? Especially alts to start moving, I really need to see BTC take a break. We mentioned this on the last stream as well. Take a break, or maybe do 1,000 a day or something, or maybe 500 a day. Just keep it steady and move up slowly, nothing hyperparabolic. So then the alts that we have in the market could also catch up, because what's happening is as soon as BTC starts to move, people start dumping the others and jumping back onto BTC, right? Whether they're longing it, shorting it, that's a whole different story. And I do hope nobody's doing extra crazy longs. And if anybody has done extra crazy longs, they've done it at a lower price, not now. You don't want to do it now, right? Now, in my opinion, if you do a long 2x maybe, right, I wouldn't even recommend anything more than a 2x. It's too high risk, right? And obviously have a stop loss. But if you did it from way back in the days when it was like 10, 15 grand, 20 grand, whatever, that's a different story. You're still in it, by all means, right? You're a bloody hero, you're a bloody superstar. That's what I'm going to say. So that's all good. I know I'm here. Look, I'm talking to myself. I can't see the chat, right? So what's going on? Right, what's going on? Right, did I all of a sudden just basically make everyone just run away because of what I talked about, because of what I said, right? That there could be a potential war, and everybody else could be dragged in to fight this war. This could be Biden's last legacy, right? Did everyone just run away because I said that? Is that too sensitive for you guys? So imagine all of the stuff I want to say, if I do end up saying it, how sensitive that will become, right? Imagine, right? There are things I could point out. There are things I might say, certain opinions that I have. If I turn around and say all of those, what would happen then? I'm sure everyone would be off the chat, right? Everyone will vanish off the YouTube. Everyone will start unsubscribing. Well, this guy's a lunatic. We don't want to be here, right? Isn't that what's going to happen? Did I say something where basically now nobody wants to talk to me anymore? Oh my. Must have said something. So if you're still here, at least tell me that you're here, so at least I know what's going on. And if I am talking rubbish, then tell me I'm talking rubbish, right? But I hope I'm not, right? For me, everything I've ever said is there to either protect yourself or help yourself. What did he say? Mansan, what's happened? Can you summarize, please? Just got in. Okay, you just got in. I'll summarize a little bit. So I'm talking about how Biden's last effort in the office, because Biden hasn't left the office yet. He's going to leave around January, because that's how the US presidential thing works. So when he leaves in January, he's going to do whatever, right? He has, I see Maxim here. Nice to see you as well, Maxim. It's been a long time since I last saw you, my brother. I know we didn't we stopped talking during a time when I wasn't having a good time, you wasn't having a good time, but it's nice to see you here. But we'll talk about that in a bit. I am going to see your message in a bit. So back to Mansa Musa. Biden's leaving his office, but Biden has ordered NATO to go in and fire missiles or whatever from inside Ukraine. So these are US technology being fired towards Russia from Ukraine. And Russia's basically turned around and said, look, if US intervenes or does anything directly from Ukraine, then it's an act of war by USA against Russia. So Russia's saying, we don't even give a shit about Ukraine. That means you are directly coming into war with us. Does that make sense? So that's what's going on, and that makes things really, really bad. But what I'm saying is, regardless whether that happens or not, right, and I'm highly optimistic that that will not happen, because people are not that stupid. Because I'll tell you how stupid it would be if USA and Russia go into war. Then listen, if anybody thinks these guys are not going to fire nukes at each other, you're wrong. They are going to fire nukes, because that's basically mad, like mutually assured destruction. That's what's going to happen. You're going to fire, I'm going to fire, or at least someone has to fire first, right? So I'd rather fire before you, and that's the thought both parties are going to have. That's what mutually assured destruction is, right? We don't know who's going to fire, so I can retaliate, but what if they fire already? So why don't I just fire anyway? So that's the kind of situation that happens with mad. Literally, that's why they call it mad. Absolute insanity. So I hope that kind of summarizes it. So I'm saying to people to kind of protect themselves, plan for something, you know, and it's plan for anything that could happen. And you know that, look, if something breaks out, then the whole globe could, you know, global allies and whatnot could get involved. And with all the hacking and everything that's going on right now, because there is a cyber war going on, and for me that's a World War III. So whatever's going to happen now is probably World War IV. But there's been these cyber attacks going on between governments, right? And they could start to impact us globally, right? And if that happens and our network goes down, our infrastructures go down, it doesn't matter if we have crypto or whatever, if we have a whole shit ton of money sitting in the bank, how do you access it? So have some plans for that. That's what I'm trying to say, nothing more. So I'm going to go read the chats and see what's going on. Right. Maxim C, no, not necessarily. Some people are very sensitive to political agenda and people who are biased. Are you sure you need them as your audience? It's all good, man. What's in the past stays in the past. Let's keep looking at the future. No hard feelings, bro. Awesome. Thank you, my brother. Appreciate that. I'm reading this out on the live, so at least people know what's happened is happened. Yeah, I bet that not necessarily Russia is bluffing, but for example, Putin is not an idiot. He is a vicious person, but he isn't an idiot to start a full-blown nuclear war. Of course not, and but that's the problem, right? So you've got my point. I think you understood exactly where I'm coming from. I'm optimistic that nothing's going to happen, right? I don't think anything crazy is going to happen because he's not stupid, and I don't think Biden's stupid either, right? But starting this off like you're poking the bear, right? And forget it, Biden doesn't have to be a bear, he could be a puppy, right? Who cares? But the point is you don't poke somebody else, right? When, you know, it becomes an act of threat. Already you're supporting them financially, you're sending weapons to them. That wasn't the issue, but now you're in there firing. That becomes an issue. Why would you even do something like that? Do you know what I mean, right? You're literally instigating something. You're trying to create a problem here. Are you doing this on purpose? Or are you doing it on sleeping pills or whatever? Like, I'm talking about Biden here. Did you do it on while you were on sleeping pills? You know, were you doing it in your dream? What's going on here? Do you know what I mean? So that's what I'm thinking about. But I don't think anybody's stupid. But again, when it comes to mad, nobody needs to be stupid or nobody needs to be really clever. Mutually assured destruction is who does it first. It's either us or it's either them. At some stage, we have to do it. You know? So, and the scenario, by the way, it's not just happens overnight, right? Please understand this, right? And this has never happened before, by the way. So this has never happened. But what I'm trying to say is when you have two parties with equally, or at least an almost equal amount of nukes pointing at each other, right? When you run out of all options, so you go out, you full blown war, you have a nice little 10-year, 5-year, whatever war, right? And you've exhausted all your weapons, you've exhausted all your money, you've exhausted everything. One person has to press the button. That's what I'm trying to say. But when that happens, forget what happens to Russia. Forget what happens to USA. What I'm saying is what happens to the people. I'm not concerned about what happens to the leaders, right? I don't give a damn about the leaders. And I can guarantee you nothing's going to happen to the leaders. They'll be in some sort of a completely brand new type of a bunker because they have the bunker busters, right? So since the bunker buster, you know, missiles or whatever has been created, you think people are stupid? They haven't created anti tank bunker buster, whatever, right? It's a mouthful. So think about it, right? I'm sure they've created it. They've probably said, okay, if an anti-bunker buster can, bunker buster bomb can go down 2 miles, 3 miles, 4 miles down. Think, just being hypothetical here. Well, we're going to go down 100 miles, right? Whatever. We're going to go 2 kilometers, 5 kilometers, and they have been digging. So I don't see a reason why they wouldn't have certain bunkers in some locations where they can protect themselves, and it's an executive thing, right? It's the first order. When the country goes into a threat mode or some sort of a DEFCON or whatever you want to call it, right? What happens? The leaders are protected. Forget the people, right? The sheeps, forget about them. They're fodders, cannon fodder. That's what they used to call them. World War One, cannon fodder. Do you know why they used to call them one cannon fodder? Because what they used to do is to send hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people running towards the enemy so they can get a few shots in, right? And these guys were just getting shot and dying. That's what was happening. Millions and millions of people died unnecessarily. They didn't even actually go and fight each other. They just got shot down, because they were just sending out hundreds and hundreds of people, thousands of people, basically, towards the enemy line, so the enemy could run out of bullets. That's what it was. Cannon fodder. That's what it was. Do you know what I mean? So people become cannon fodder when basically global leaders go around and basically start shooting each other or doing whatever while they're in complete protection. Do you know what I mean? So, don't get me started. Let me read the chat and see what's going on. The problem is the markets are very sensitive to any moves, and the markets can see far to the future as we humans can. And if that happens, there will be a pullback, temporarily pullback. Definitely, that's what I'm trying to say here. So I'm saying prepare for that, because if that pullback comes, it's going to really hurt people in the long run, because you won't be able to protect yourself. So whatever the case is, find a plan and stick to that plan right now. And this is not your plan A. This is your plan C. We're not even talking about plan B, right? We're saying, what if? Plan A, yeah, I want to make $1,000 into $1 million, right? I'm in crypto, I'm in stocks, I'm in bonds, I'm in shares, I'm making money, I'm rolling in it, right? I'm gonna, drive this thing, I'm gonna own a private jet. These are all plan A. But if plan A doesn't come, we have a plan B. Plan B is, if the market pulls back, we're going to exit. We're going to put the stop loss, whatever, and we're going to get stopped out, but we're still going to have our profit. That's plan B. So we already have plan B set in motion, not an issue. But plan C is what I'm talking about. What about if everything goes to shit, right? What's your plan C? Get your plan C ready. So that's all I'm saying. Nothing else, right? Absolutely nothing else. So, Maxim says, totally sharing your opinion about people. Seriously, why the fuck are they playing with people's lives like the chess? But that's what politics is. Democracy and politics is a game of chess, right? That's what it is. They decide where they want to put us. That's what it is. I mean, back in the days we had monarchies, right? And then we thought monarchies were bad, so monarchies were overthrown, and basically we had democracy taking place. That's what it is, isn't it? That, where imperialism and all the whatever you want to call it, right? It went from one thing to a monarch, from monarchies to democracy, and this is what democracy is, and if this is what capitalism is, or whatever you want to call it. It's all part of it, by the way, right? And then the other side of the spectrum is you've got communism. That's it. You have communism. Everything's a communism. So we have this thing. It's like, leave people where they are. It doesn't matter. Who are we to decide what people should do, or who are our leaders to decide what you should do and what you shouldn't do? Yes, you're you're responsible for legislations, policies, laws, and this and that, whatever. Put those in place so people can have a better life, to protect the people, to protect the sovereign people of that country. That's what your job is. Your job is to make sure that they can grow, they can have a good life, they can have, good living standards and whatnot. And of course, they can be protected from any harm, legal or illegal, whatever, right? That's what you're there for. But when did you become puppet masters that now you decide who can have what, or which country should do whatever? Isn't that back to imperialism? Because to me, that looks very imperial. That looks very imperial. The Manhattan Tea Party or Boston Tea Party, was it pointless? Because the whole reason America decided to separate from the Brits, right, was that they wanted something completely independent. They wanted a democracy. They wanted something different. They didn't want to be part of the imperial rule. That's what they did, right? But aren't they becoming more imperial right now because they're deciding who's going to do what, or who we're going to put in power, or who we're going to start a fight with, right? Isn't that what's happening? It is a game of chess, and people in between are getting hurt. You want a funny part? There is zero bunkers in the United States for the public. Of course. All the big bunkers and all the big things are either privately owned by billionaires, multi-billionaires, right? They own them. There are plenty of those, by the way. Amazon owns a whole bunch. Walmart owns a whole bunch, right? They use them as warehouses. Here's the fun part. They actually use them as warehouses. But what people don't know, they're not warehouses. These are actual freaking bunkers for them, right? So they have them. And then, of course, the governments have all the military bases that you know of, right? Those are the ones you know of. And then they have the ones that you don't know of. That's what you have to understand. So there are bases that you don't know of. Like anything that is too exposed, right? Yeah, fine. We have low-level military personnel, low-level government or whatever going in there. This is a low-level. Then you have your high-level ones that nobody even knows about. That's the problem here, right? But it's not a problem. I'm just saying that why? You're going to be protected. So why are you dragging people in for? That's what I'm saying. Why are you dragging people in for? Why do you want to even go? Why be a warmongering country? He says, absolutely agree with you. What do you think about gold? Gold is good, but what use is it? What use is gold, silver, anything? What use is it? I'm going to show you something. So this is a packet of corns, right? That spicy corn, right? Look, spicy corn nuts, right? I want to show. This is more valuable. If the world goes to shit, right? If we have this doomsday scenario, whatever we want to call it, right? Where the entire, we go into, I don't know, like everything shut down. We're back into the Stone Ages, right? This is more valuable than gold because this will feed you. And guess what? You will be paying me gold. And I can demand whatever gold I want from you. But there's the problem. Gold is not, how does it, unless you have little crumpets of gold, any gold that you store right now is actually the worst storage you can ever have, right? Because how do you split that gold into small fractions? Do you know what I mean? And how do you make that last forever? You don't. You're better off having potatoes or whatever, because you're going to be able to trade. Barter system is going to be the winner. If everything goes to shit, right? You know, completely crap, right? There's nothing left anymore. There's no money. There's no banks. There's none of that business. Not people don't want paper money. There's, you know, they can't even use it as toilet paper because it's made out of plastic these days, right? So everything goes away, right? What's going to win? Barter system going to win? You have potatoes. I got tomatoes. Boom, we do a swap, right? You got eggs, no problem, we can do a swap. That's what's going to win. But we're not going there. I'm not going to the doomsday scenario, right? I'm just you know, I'm not going that far, right? But you know what I mean, right? Gold. You know, I actually noticed that all this craziness, absolute craziness, started when Her Majesty Queen died. Yes and no. Yes and no. Right, Her Majesty the Queen, that's a longer story, okay? That's a bigger story. To be honest, it goes way back, all right? Let's put it this way. Her Majesty the Queen and His Majesty the King right now, their heritage, to a certain extent, I'm not going to say absolute or anything because there's been a lot of other stuff, goes all the way back to the Vikings, even before them. And funnily, the family, the bloodline is very well connected, kind of like in the, maybe to a certain extent, right? Again, to a certain extent, right? In the formation of Russia, Germany, and England. So there was a time like World War One, all these three countries fought each other, but the leaders were kind of related. I don't know, right? So yeah. This goes back to Elizabeth, or was it Elizabeth? Yeah, it was Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth the First, I believe. Her three grandsons had England. So they had England, they had Germany, and they had Russia. So But again, this all goes back before the lines were drawn, right? So there's a lot more history. But as I say, if you go back way back, it goes thousands of years back before the freaking Romans, right? You know, or maybe around the time of the Romans. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff. United States is in the same anymore. Okay, you mean is not the same anymore, brother. I feel like all these commodities and good life literally spoiled a lot of people, and now they just can't make it without the life they used to have. 100%. But this is what makes you dumb, right? So that we evolve as humans, we evolve, and that's fine, right? You know, it's part of, I believe that as humans, we need this. In fact, there's a lot of it that we're missing. So whatever technology, whatever we're using right now, whatever resources some countries are fighting over each other or have fought in the past, I believe they're completely futile, right? And they shouldn't have done that, because what they've done is hindered, right, our evolution into a better society, right? So over time, people, a handful of people, very few people, when they decided to control the narrative of certain things, things changed, right? Let me give you a good example. There was a time, right, historically, and you can Google it or do whatever, and this part Google won't lie to you, believe me, right? Google most of the time may not, like when it's something sensitive, they might block it, but in this case, they won't block it. There was a time thousands of years ago, 4,000 or 5,000 years ago, when you would literally walk, right, in certain parts of the world, and you literally step into puddles of oil. And so these particular countries, what they did, or currently they're countries, but these regions, what they did was they used to just use the oil that used to seep from the ground and use that to light up their pathways in their cities, their mega metropolis, or whatever you want to call it, mega cities. They used to use that to light up the roads and whatnot in the night. So these guys were already working in that level, right? Of course, that got lost. So we had this massive gap in between, like 1,000-year gap, where nobody was using that, and the land was just nobody, even though they were probably walking in it, they were just fighting each other for hundreds and thousands of years. Sorry, hundreds of years, if not 1,000 years. So that was lost. That whole ideology of peace and comfort and providing service for the public, because why would you light the road for? Why would you light a city for? You light it because you want your citizens to see light, right? So not walk in the dark or anything. So things were easier. But then out when the wars and everything, and I'm not going to mention who had war with whatever, that's a whole different story. We can go into this in another video. But ultimately that part was lost because we had chaos, right? So when you have chaos, that gets lost. So then years later, hundreds of years later, when it came to the early 19th century, right? So 18 something, whatever it was, right? When some countries discovered oil, the black gold, right? They discovered oil. Well, other countries started to think, oh, hold on, we want some of that as well. You've got the cake, we want a piece of your cake, we can't find it. So what do? So they decided to go into the history books. Now I'm talking about British, right? The British decided to go into the history book and actually read some history that is 4,000 to 5,000 years old. So they're looking at historical texts, which is like 4,500, 5,000 years old, and they're like, hold on, these guys are talking about walking and finding things, and this is exactly what happened when the first oil was discovered. So all of a sudden they're like, oh, these countries had oil seeping out and they used to light up their roads with it. That's where we should be looking for oil. Why are we searching for oil everywhere? We don't have to. We just go where the oil was. So that's how they ended up in the Middle East and the oil business over there. And then this is how a lot of the Middle East countries became billionaires. They didn't even know what oil was. They didn't even know, because that history was lost. That history was lost. So, yeah. That history is lost. But yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot changes, you know. But I think people, I mean, again, I'm going to go back to that. I shouldn't be driving this car. I should be driving a flying car by now, right? We had technology like for example, during the 18 something, or again early 19th century, they created the steam power, steam engine, this, that, whatever. Well, funnily, this type of stuff actually existed like almost 1,000, 2,000 years ago. There are some documentations. I can't tell you off the top of my head, but those did exist back then. So it was only a matter of time before they got to the steam engine, right? But it wasn't 2,000 years. Do you know what I mean? If these things were not destroyed and if these were not war torn, then we would have evolved to a certain level where we could be something else right now. Do you know what I mean? And that's I'm just trying to make a point here, how our evolution has been hindered by a handful of people for the sake of their own power or self agenda, whatever it was, right? So, but what they don't, you're not immortal, for God's sake. What are you doing it for? Short term, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever. Some of you are more dictators, you probably rule, and like parties are dictatorships in my opinion, right? So because one party, they just carry on with the agenda for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. That's what it is. So but then you have other side where another dictator could be one person, just, do you know what I mean? Still a dictatorship in my opinion, right? Because you're dictating what people can and can't do. You're dictating who to go to war and who not to go to war with, right? And ultimately people suffer, and we are devolving because of that. And then obviously some of the things that you talked about, like technology and whatnot, that makes people dumb, right? Like you focus on news, so you might like the voice of somebody on a radio, so you listen to that particular show every single time, right? That's kind of taking you away from whatever the reality is. Maybe, I'm not saying 100%. You're listening to me right now, or you're watching me right now. I don't know why you're coming here, but I hope I'm not saying anything that the news is saying, because I don't want to say anything what the news is saying. In fact, I don't even watch the news. I don't even know the news, right? I only know whatever's being given to me. If somebody's talked about it with me, then I'll go and I'll be like, okay, what are you talking about? Tell me, I want to know more. But other than that, no, I don't want to listen to the radio. I don't want to look at the what do you call this? Sorry, one second. I don't want to look at the news on the TV or anything like this, because what the hell? Okay, sorry, I lost my chart there for a second. So BTC sitting at 91,996. So that's what it is. So I believe we have fallen back, you know, as a human civilization on this planet Earth. I think we're currently 1,000 years behind. I know you're probably thinking, what the hell is this guy talking about? Yeah, I think we would have had an iPhone at least 1,000 years ago. That's what war does. That's what war does. So just think about that. I want you to go and just think about that, if that makes any sense. So, military bunkers are for sure out there. Hold on. Okay, so he says definitely military bunkers are for sure out there. None, of course. No one is gonna help. Just regular people who are gonna be dying. Regular people are always gonna suffer. You know, it's part of the way population control or whatever, right? You know, when it comes to a certain level, you want to wipe out people, we'll create a war, problem solved. If shit hits the fan situation, you're right. All of those papers that we consider money will be worthless, and only physical things like food, ammunition, etc. will be valuable as a gold. Yeah, exactly. They will probably be worth more than the gold. Why I'm saying that is simply because I noticed that there were a little more order when we was alive, when she was alive. I might be mistaken, but really thought so. No, you are mistaken. There was no order, because even during her lifetime, you got to look at how many wars there were, right? How many wars there were. She's seen a lot, right? Remember, she was a monarch for about 70 years, right? So she's seen a lot, believe me. Many wars here and there, this war, that war, whatever. So many. So there is no such thing as order. The only order you're going to see is the order that is that you perceive, or that is given to you. So, you know, like for example, I'll give you an example. Sometimes we see something and, you know, chaotic, right? Just for the sake of this, let's say something really bad happens in your country, or in my country, something really, really bad happens, right? And then the government comes and says, right, we're going to go and we're going to deal with whoever did that. We're going to punish them or do whatever, are you with me? And you say, yeah, we're with you because you got hurt because of what happened to you. And you say, yeah, I'm with you. You think that's order. That's not. That's not. That was chaos being dealt with chaos. There was no order. Does that make sense? Yes, you want to punish them. Fine, that's a different story. Punish whoever, doesn't matter. But that was not order. There's more I can't say, but I hope you understand. It's not greed. I know your last message was greed. Okay, so definitely United States made Saudi Arabia the way it is right now, and that agreement unfortunately has ended and no idea what's going to happen. So United States, no, you're wrong there. United States hasn't made Saudi Arabia. That's the modern day story. It goes way back. So I know a lot of people like to separate United States from UK, right? England. No, they're not quite separate. So a lot of this, the Arabian influence that happened, had to do with the British monarchs and the British leading parties, let's just say, who were technically part of France and Germany as well. So it goes way back, brother. It's a lot more. So the history that you goes all the way back to Persia. In fact, let me give you a really good one. You've heard of Babylon. Everyone's heard of Babylon, right? Or how about this? Euphrates, right? Everyone knows that the birth of civilizations happened around the Euphrates. Right? Well, that's in the Middle East, right? Well, actually, even not even Middle East. Let's just say Persia. Even in the Bible, they talk about Babylon, right? So we know the Babylonians were around that particular area as well. So all of these things kind of align, right? But what a lot of people don't know is that around that time, or those people are called Persians. They're called Persians. Did you know what Persia is? A lot of people don't know this. Persians, or the current area, who we call Persians, were called Persians by the Greek because they named it after Perseus. Perseus, Persia. That's what it was. History. So understand this, please. There's a lot of Greek influence in Persia. So yeah. So think about it. That's European. That's technically now European. So it wasn't USA, because USA, remember, is only not 17 something, right, or 18 something, whatever it was, right? So USA didn't exist during that time when they were already influencing, manipulating, and drawing lines, right? So it goes way back. It goes back to the Crusaders, if not before the Crusaders. So it goes actually goes before the Crusaders. So this, during that time, like for example, the Islamic faith didn't exist. Persia has been there before the Islamic faith even existed, right? Before Saudi Arabia was called Saudi Arabia. In fact, Saudi Arabia was not called Saudi Arabia before that time. Saudi Arabia was called Saudi Arabia quite recently, right? So, House of Saud. There's a lot more, right? And that had, so the House of Saud, actually, so Saudi Arabia, the name, getting that name, yes, America was part of it. So you see how much distance we have. So the original thing, there was a lot more. So there was a lot going on. So that was British, French, and German, just doing their bits and bobs. It's a lot more, right? So we're not going to go there. We're not going to go there. And also, as I said, if we are going to go into something historical, I don't want to say, because there are dates and there are specific names that I have to note. If I don't note those, then I could be incorrectly quoting something or incorrectly telling you something. Hence why I'm not taking any names, I'm not giving you any dates. But if I did, then there will be specific dates when certain things happened, right? And then you start seeing the timeline and things just go completely out of, to blow your mind, basically. It's just... So, you said greed has poisoned man's heart. It's not greed. It's not greed. It's nothing to do with greed. I mean, some people have said, like, these global powers, these global elites, They worship the Satan, the devil, whatever, right? Maybe, I don't know, right? Who cares? Worship the Satan, worship whoever, it doesn't matter. Ultimately, the way I look at it is, it's financial, it's transactional. I think it's it's hard. It's transactional, right? Short gains. However, some people don't even do that. Like historically, we've had leaders who have been in power 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever. But then they get taken out. They're minted, they get taken out. They're really rich, they get taken out. So is it really transactional? Is it really? It's something else. Honestly, there's something else. We don't know what it is. I can't say what it is. But I don't think it's greed. I don't think it's greed. I think it's got to do with show of force, show of power, whatever. We can be whatever. There's something else going on. That's all I'm going to say, right? I don't know what it is. But I don't think it's greed, because it doesn't last that long. I mean, yeah, you might get you might make XYZ amount of money out of it, but you could do that anyway, right? When you got the printing machine ready on your side, and you can just give one executive order and have as much money as you want printed and sent wherever you want. Money's not an object then. So is it really greed? I don't know. I think something else. But that's why there are people out there who said, oh, it's the Illuminatis, or it's the Freemasons, or it's this and that. I don't think it's any of those. There's something else, but we don't know what it is. Because anything that you think you know, I don't think that's the case. Because that's what they want us to think. That's the diversion. That's the smoke screen, right? Give them something, let them ponder on that, let them think about that, let the entire conspiracy theory be made on that, because that's what they're going to believe it is. They're going to believe it's the Illuminati, right? I don't think it is. They're going to believe it's the Freemasons. I don't think it is. Right? They're going to believe it's the cabal, this, that. It's the shadow government, right? How about that? Right? The most elusive one, right? The most hidden one, the shadow government. Yeah, let them. That's what these leaders and whatever people in power, that's what they say. Let them think it's the shadow government. Carry on, talk about it, no problem. There are some occasions where these conspiracies have also become true, have actually been proven to become true at some stage, right? Even then, let them. Who cares? Let them do whatever they do, right? So whatever we think we know is information that's been given to us in order to keep our minds occupied. That's what it is. Because when we decide that something is an absolute, then there's no space for anything else. Hence why I think there's something else, and I'm keeping a wider, like my mind, much more wider. The options are more open. I'm like, okay, I'm open to options. It could be Illuminati, it could be freaking aliens, it could be people from the fourth dimension. I don't know, right? They say there's a multiverse out there, right? There's multi-universes, whatever, or the M theory, right? There's multiple dimensions out there. They could be from the 10th dimension for all we care. We don't know, right? So what I'm saying is, I'm keeping my options open. I don't think it's anybody that we think it is or we know of. These people, or whatever the case is, or whatever the reasons are, whoever's pulling the strings or whatnot, right? We don't know who they are. We don't know who they are. And we don't know what their agenda is. They could be anything. The agenda could be anything. We don't know. Do you know what I mean? Right? They might be feeding off our fear. You never know. There could be this whole race of people or whatever. There are theories out there, by the way. But just based on that, they could be feeding off our fear, our negative emotions. There could be someone feeding off that. We don't know. Right? There could be some energy out there feeding. We don't know. So what the agenda is, who these leaders are serving, is a whole different story. I'm not going to go down that route, because I know if I do, people are going to start dropping off. Thank you for clarifying that. It's interesting to hear your opinion about the Queen and everything else. No, definitely you're right regarding Persia. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not just giving my opinion. Obviously, I'm trying to put things right in a certain ways. Like when you look at history, it was during World War One actually. It was during World War One when the family, the Queen's family, our previous Queen's family, they actually changed their surname. So a lot of people don't know they changed their surname, because they used to have a German surname. They changed it. But what I'm saying is, if you go back to history, hundreds and hundreds of years, what you realize is there's this group of people. They fought amongst themselves. They fought amongst themselves. They were ruling France once. They were ruling here once. They were ruling Germany once. They were ruling that, ruling this. Basically ruled the whole world at some stage, right? But that's what they were doing. So these people are very well connected, and you had to be part of that royal family in order to be a ruling family in another country or whatever, right? So that's how they created monarchy. They just randomly give it to anybody, right? It wasn't just some random it's like, oh, someone just, they believed they had the divine right to be the rulers. There's something there. Think about it. They believe that only they can rule, nobody else can, and their bloodline can only rule, nobody else can. They believe that they can only be the monarchs, nobody else can. That's why they overthrew every other monarch out there. You know what I mean? So think about that. So it's deep. It's deep. But as I said, I don't think currently, look, the royalty or the royal families that we have, and we have a few around the globe. Some by whatever decree they become royal, or they are still have some bloodlines or whatever, but they're very low level, right? They're there, but I don't think they're involved in politics. Again, they're probably serving some other power, but whatever their reasons are, you know what I mean? Ultimately, they don't have to do anything. They get paid to be a monarch anyway. Do you know what I mean? It's so much more easier. Theory, okay, so hold on, what is it saying? So Maxim G says, speaking of feeding the emotions, there is a theory that there is actually feeding the energy that is being produced by people when they hate. Yes, listen, negative, let's just put it into a complete negative energy, right? There's negative energy and there's positive energy. And I can vouch for this, right? So there was a time not long ago where I had a whole bunch of negative things happen to me, one after the other, like a bombardment, like freaking World War V happening in my head, right? Like bombs dropping in my head. And I'm thinking, what the hell's going on? One after the other, problem. And it kept on building, the negative energy kept on building to the point where I exploded, right? So I was feeding something. I don't know what I'm feeding, but I'm feeding something. And whatever this thing was enjoying. And it's like, let's give him a little bit more. Let's poke him a little bit more, because this guy seems to be feeding us a lot more. So I was satisfying someone. Understand where I'm coming from? I'm satisfying someone. However, on the opposite side of things, when I have positive attitude, when I see positive energy and I'm releasing positive energy, what seems nothing negative can come and impact me. Doesn't matter if something bad happens in front of me or something bad is about to happen, I turn it into a positive thing. So all of a sudden now I'm feeding somebody else, or at least somebody else is helping. I don't know what it is. So there seems to be this whole thing between positive and negative. The more positive energy I can throw out, the more positive results I get. And if for whatever reason I become negative and I kind of weigh down a little bit more on the negative side, then I can't stop it. It just keeps on becoming so negative. So there is something there. There is some sort of a power. I mean, we call it law of attraction, very simply. If you attract bad energy, you're going to always get bad energy. If you attract positive energy, you're going to get that law of attraction. But who are we freaking attracting? That's the question. The law of attraction, who are we attracting? I know we're attracting it ourselves, but from where? Who are we attracting? That's the question. People produce frequency and the people produce different emotions. Frequency is absolutely different. Happiness gives you one frequency and hate gives you another frequency. So that's very possible. Yes, frequencies, we talked about frequencies before as well. I mean, good 6-7 months ago we talked about this. Yes, there is frequency. In fact, everything is on frequency, right? Right now, the heat I'm feeling from my heater that's coming towards me, that is a different frequency to my own frequency, hence why I feel warm. Simple, right? The air temperature is a frequency, right? So everything around us is a frequency. Me walking, talking, sitting is a different energy, different frequency. So of course that's all there. But no, I'm talking about something far more bigger. I'm saying there's like this invisible force, right? There's this invisible force. So I'm not even talking about frequency in that sense, because obviously we talk about frequency, but there's this invisible force that either feeds you or you feed it, right? And for me, the way I look at it is whenever I have negative energy, I feel I'm feeding something and it enjoys it, it loves it, and it wants more from me. And I mean more negative energy from me. However, on the other side, when I'm doing positive things and I'm feeling positive, I feel I'm being fed positive things. Do you know what I mean? Remember I said law of attraction, who am I attracting? Right? It's a question I'm asking myself, who am I attracting? Right? And I believe I'm attracting some sort of an energy that is taking from me when it's negative. However, a complete opposite to that, because everything has an opposite, right? So the opposite reaction to me being positive, I'm being fed this now. Wow, okay, so I can now receive. Give me some more. I want more. Do you know what I mean? I want more. So that's what it is. War and genocide. Yeah, well, yeah, of course. Listen, war and genocide, that's a whole different thing. War's there to, like, my opinion, right? This is my opinion. I'm not going to say what, I don't know what their war's for. As I said earlier on, we don't know what their agenda is. But I believe war is there for chaos, and people, once there's chaos, people will seek to the leaders for order. So any global world leader, anybody in power knows this, right? When you have chaos, people want order. And usually people would vote for someone. Even if they never wanted to vote for him, they would vote for it because they want order. The problem with that is, a lot of the time, the guy that you want to vote is a guy that's being put onto the spotlight. And a lot of the time, it's a manipulation because he's been chosen by somebody else to go there. So a lot of the leaders around the globe, people think they voted them in, but they were selected. There's a saying, right? Most leaders around the globe are not elected. They are actually selected. And that's what I mean by that. So it's not, oh, your party member, Donald Trump was not elected, he was selected. No. I'm not saying that. What I'm trying to say is the candidates coming into this, there's already been a selection. Because anybody could stand for power, but you are, depending on how much campaign, how much media, how much coverage they get, you're being brainwashed to go and vote for that person. That's what I want to say, right? Because a lot of crypto guys will say, oh, we voted for Donald Trump because he's going to do crypto. What percentage? I mean, what percentage of America actually even owns cryptocurrency, for God's sake, right? So what percentage of those did actually vote for Donald Trump? You can never lose statistics. You've got to always keep the statistics. Right. Oh, forecast. I didn't do a forecast actually. So yesterday's live stream, I talked about a hypothetical scenario where I said, if we could last for another 2-3 months, maybe 6 months, and if people don't dump, then we could actually see Bitcoin shoot towards a 3x level. But this was all hypothetical. That's what I said. Right now, on BTC, my charts, right? So I originally had, I can tell you the numbers, because I had a bunch of numbers. It was 78K, so it was first target, wasn't 73. So when we were around the 60 something level, I told everyone, I said, guys, I'm not even worried about the 73K that we had prior, because we're going to go past that. And then I set a target and I said $78,000. Of course, we went to like $80,000 on that particular time. Great. And then the next target was $86,000. And of course, we shot past that and we went to $88,000, which did great as well. So the target was reached. And then I was doubting myself. I was like, oh, 80, I said 86, but it went to 88. Maybe I was wrong. But then I was right, because what happened, and I'm not taking any credit for anything, but the 86 mark was still there. We actually retraced back to 86 and we held support there. So the line that I drew on the chart was still there. Now, of course, I will say this again, guys, my name is Sham, this is ww3. The truth is always out there. And if you want to you want a link for my chart on TradingView, I'll happily share the link. Just let me know in the comments. I'll pass down the link so you can go and see my actual Bitcoin chart with the lines drawn on it, right? So if that helps you. So then the next target for me was 103. So after $86,000, I kind of jumped to $103,000. And I know a lot of people doubted, why did I jump to $103,000? The reason I did that was because I think we're going to head towards that at some stage, but I'm also using a level of compounding to that, right? So when I jumped from 60 something to 68, I believe it was, to 78, and that there was a reason behind that. But from 78, I've been kind of compounding the percentages on top and doing this kind of maths. It's like, okay, if we do XYZ amount of percent per day, so if we just do 2% a day, for example, do the maths, right? It can actually go up to a certain level. So by doing that, I was like, okay, if we get to 86,000, then I think we can blitz past the 90, which we did, right? Because currently we've even tested close to 94,000 twice. So we went to 93,400 last week and then 93,700 today, right? So that's not a bad. I think was it 93.7 today? I'm going to double check this, guys, because I did briefly see something. I don't know if it was exact. Yes, no, it was 93,900 today. 93,900, so almost 94, right? So again, not a bad deal, right? But I think we might actually even go, so I've mentioned in the last video, we might go towards the 97k, because that is a number I am seeing, but nothing too important. For me, my important numbers are the numbers that I've set already, which is 103. That was my target. So that's the target, and once we get there, then of course we're going to start looking at newer numbers. So I'm not one of those who's just going to throw random numbers. So those are my targets, and so far we've hit every single target. Either we broke past it or we held support on that level. So pretty amazing to see that. You know, and when I'm calculating, I'm actually doing weekly charts, so I'm not even looking at the daily stuff. So on the weekly charts, so far everything seems okay. To the point where I'm even seeing signs that we might actually get a parabola. So the only thing that worries me is if we get a parabola, market will end. And also if we get a black swan event, whatever they're trying to do, media, whatever, they're trying to create some sort of FUD, right? That could impact us. But if we don't get any of those, then we can actually drag this market for a very long time. And if we do, then we could potentially see at least a 2 to maybe even a 3x BTC this cycle. Now here's the fun part. Where we are right now with Bitcoin, right? So we're at $92,000 today. A lot of the coins, the altcoins, a lot of old coins, legacy coins, haven't done their previous all-time high. Forget doing a brand new all-time high. They haven't even gone to their previous all-time high. So that's my calculation. It's like if there's a big scenario here, right? If BTC can continue on an upward momentum, however, take baby steps, then I believe that there is enough room and we have enough time for the others to catch up. And if the others do catch up, right, and they can do it quick enough and go to their previous all-time high, then I believe that everything has a chance to do a new all-time high, number one, but also the market, total market cap, has an opportunity to push, right, to a greater number than we've ever seen before, right? And I'm not going to give you a specific number, hypothetical number, $10 trillion, but it could easily be 15, 16, 20, 30. It could easily be $5 trillion. We don't know, right? But the point is it could be a greater number that we haven't seen before, and there is so much room there. Just if the alts catch up to this previous all-time high, boom, we've made it. If the alts can catch up, that's all I'm saying. If the alts can catch up, then the alts alone probably have, I would say, $3, maybe $4 trillion sitting in them, just sitting inside them, right? Just sitting there. That needs to be recovered, right? Probably more. I'm just being hypothetical here. I haven't done the maths on that, but I would say $4-5 trillion just sitting in alts to recover back to the all-time high. And then we want to see new numbers that could easily give us another $2-3 trillion on top. Just do the maths. If it's 5 trillion, another $3 trillion, well, that's $7 trillion, right? And then BTC alone sitting at about $1.5 trillion. Imagine where we can go. That's all I'm trying to say. Just, being hypothetical here. But whatever the case is, don't lose your cool. Don't lose your emotions. Don't get too excited. And even if you do, there's no harm. Set up something, a protection, stop loss or whatever. So just in case something happens, at least you're protected, right? That's all I'm trying to say. Nothing else here. So let me see, what was the chat? Um, oh yeah, you were saying something about wars and genocides. Yeah, so I was going to say something about genocide, but I'm not going to say that. I think genocide is just basically pure hate. Anything genocide is just pure hate. I don't care what people say, racist, this, that one. It's just hate. It's just humans hating each other. That's what it is. Pure evil. That's what genocide is. I'm not going to say anything. Really missed your forecast for Bitcoin. I've already said that. You know, you're absolutely correct about that. I feel like the bread and breed and I think, yeah, breed and circus about politicians who are winning. It's all comes to propaganda, and those politicians for sure embedded with those. Yep, I feel like your cycle. I feel like our cycle is going to be finished in March, April, considering all the geopolitical condition and fears of war. Most important thing, the fact that people are positioned the bull run to go another 12 months, 2020, 25, 26. That's always different from what I think. But then you think that altcoin season is going to start. No, so listen, first of all, I don't think we might, like my original analysis that I did, right? So the original analysis, so let me put the lights on a little bit more. The original analysis that I did, that told me that we could potentially go up to March, but not over March. The recent candle, sorry, that's too loud. The recent candles that I've seen, all right, on a monthly, actually tells me that we could have another 3 months from here, right? Maybe even 4. So yeah, that would pretty much be in line with March, April. If that happens, then I don't see a reason why we can't have a little bit more. But what I'm also saying at that time is that's based on what we see today. We don't know what the future is. If the candle pattern changes, then we could have one of two things. We could have a very long, prolonged market, or we could end. Whatever the case is depending on people, right? People's emotions. If people feel fear for whatever reason, right? If the propaganda machine out there gets out there, news, whatever, causes situations where people start panicking and dumping, war, whatever you want to call it, financial collapse, financial market, I'm sure it's coming, right? You'll see the news, right? I don't watch it, let me know. Anyway, whatever the news, you guys let me know. So I believe that will impact one or two people who would decide to pull out, and that may cause harm. In fact, it doesn't even have to be in crypto, right? This is a fun part, right? So if someone decides to pull out of the stock market, that could also impact the entire market, because it's like dominoes, right? All you need is one to fall. You have them in a line and one to fall, right? So if we have something happen in the stocks, bonds and shares, right? That news, right, will come out and start going through the crypto as well, because people are going to panic. They don't know what happened. They don't know the real scene. I got to pull out, mate, because something big is happening. And it's going to take one or two of those big boys doing it. That's what I'm trying to say. So if people stay strong, they should be fine. I mean, right now, I can see, I mean, yeah, I mean, there are some big boys out there. I'm not going to name any, but I can see some big boys out there. If they pull out for whatever reason, that could cause a lot of issues. However, this is the fun part. If people want to take profit, rather than taking it out in one go, because they won't be able to, first of all, right? Because say, for example, someone comes today and says, right, I want to dump 10,000 Bitcoin. Actually, no, this person has 1 million Bitcoins. I want to make the number more unrealistic. There's a reason behind this. So say, for example, the total supply available in the market, the total liquidity available in the market is $2 million. Right, let's do this in an unrealistic way, but there's a good example. So just $2 million worth of liquidity available in Bitcoin. So if you go to an exchange, we know there's 2 million on one side, 2 million on the other side. So if someone decides to come and dump his 2 million, hold on, dump it where? No one's buying, mate. Do you see what I mean? So there's a bit of a situation, right? And that would cause a massive impact on the price, and that would dump the price. Because someone's just tried to sell all of his bags when there's not enough liquidity, So he has to sell it for cheaper just to get that. So he may have $10 million worth, but there's only $2 million available. So if he wants to cash out, he can take $2 million. All of a sudden, he's dumped the price 5x, right? It's just unrealistic scenario, right? But I'm just trying to make an example here. But what I do recommend is, as we are progressing up, if people have made significant gains, take small chunks off the table. You remember, I'm that guy. I'm always telling you guys, if you make 10%, 20%, whatever, take it off the table, take it off the table, take it off the table. Yes, you are going to make 200% more, but you've ended up making 100%, right? But you're not the guy who's going to be losing everything when the market collapses because you can't exit. Because liquidity is very important. If there is none, who are you going to sell it to? So it's not a bad idea, as we progress, make your minds up, whatever coins you want, take some off the table. Yesterday, there was a wallet I looked at, and it had around 35 different assets. Not much, just small shrapnels here and there. There was about 35 different assets sitting in there. There was a point where I literally wanted to press, there's a button where you can convert it to one specific type of currency. I was literally about to press that and just convert it into one of them. Do I want to look at 35 different currencies? Yeah, they've done well. They've recovered quite a bit, not back to where they need to be. Some of them haven't even recovered where I bought them, but the others have and done some more. So they kind of balanced each other out and are currently in profit. So for me, the way I looked at it, I was like, I just do I want to look at 35 coins? I might as well combine them into one coin and just look at that one particular asset. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I haven't done that yet, but that's what I'm considering doing. Why? Because do I want the hassle of looking at 35 different currencies and going there trying to find liquidity for them? I might as well put them in one and just, when I feel right, just dump it in one shot. Boom, I'm exited, right? And then have one or two coins that I can focus on. But that's just me. Listen, this is not financial advice. You do what suits you. That's what's important. You have to do what's important to you. You have to do what is comfortable to you. I'm only telling you that there is no harm in taking profits, number one, and there is no harm in selling the top to buy the bottom. Right? Because whatever amount, if you hold one Bitcoin today at 100K, for example, if it goes to 50K and you sold it at 100K, if it goes to 50K, we can buy 2 Bitcoins. Where are you wrong there? You're not, right? So just think about that. No problem, my brother. Thank you. Have a good day. Go to the doctors and check it out. Definitely miss talking to you as well, because you do engage the chats a lot, and I do appreciate that. I see free energy. Hello, mate. How you doing, brother? What's happening? I am coming, by the way. I'm coming near your area, near your ends very soon. So we are going to talk when I do come there. I will call you because I haven't made an appointment because my schedule's been so busy. So I had to cancel a meeting that I had near your sides. Free energy, I'm talking to you. But when I do book it in, I'll let you know the date and time. So at least if you're available, yeah, we'll meet up and have lunch or whatnot, right? It will be probably during the day, so we'll have lunch or something. If it's during the evening, then yeah, we have dinner. Why not, right? So, but I don't know yet, because I had the guy called me yesterday. He's like, oh, when are you gonna come over? And he's like, oh, bro, I don't know. My schedule is so busy. I don't know, But I hope you guys understand where am I coming from, right? I'm not trying to be all doom here, none of that business. I'm just trying to open your minds and say, guys, have a plan C, have a plan D if you have to, by all means, right? But have a plan. There's no harm in having a plan, right? There is absolutely no harm in having a plan. And taking some off the table while the liquidity is still there is a good thing. Because when everybody dumps together, that's the reasons it dumps so hard and so fast. Why do you think it dumps so hard and so fast? Because there's no freaking liquidity. Everyone's trying to dump, right? And they're trying to sell it at $5 and they can't, so they go like, okay, I'm gonna sell it for $2. I need to exit this as soon as possible. So everyone's trying to beat each other and dump it as fast as possible. Nobody's winning. on the way up, as you skim it off, you're winning, you're winning, you're winning, you're the winner, right? So think about that. That's what I'm trying to say here. Of course, as I said, there's not financial advice. You do whatever you want to do. I'm not going to say anything here. So Free Energy, do you have any questions? If you do, my brother, please do let me know. If you're here for the first time, guys, I would appreciate if you can hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and let's grow this community, because as I said, recently I've been motivated enough to come and do these lives more often. Hence why today, actually, I was originally planning to go live around 9:30, and I believe currently 9:30 to 10. I did say that, and currently it's 10. So I actually went live an hour and a half before, right? Because I had some time, and I was like, you know what, I'll do it, right? I could be doing many other things. Believe me, right now I could be out there doing many other things, right? But I thought, you know what, I'm motivated enough. I want to do it, so why not? So that's why I'm here right now. BDC's showing okay, market showing okay. Altcoin season, I know he asked, Maxim G asked for about altcoins. Now, altcoin season, I've mentioned this. What we need is, altcoin season has already started, but to be precise, it has already. As soon as we hit the $3 trillion market cap, altcoin season was already showing signs that it's already started. So that's already started. What we truly mean about altcoin season is when the altcoins go parabola, or when they start creating brand new all-time highs. That we haven't seen yet. So that's what I was talking about. If we had a little bit of extra time, and if we hopefully do, we need to give all the alts that haven't recovered, even to their previous all-time high, we need to give them a chance, because that's when the real altcoin season starts. You know what I mean? But BTC needs to settle. BTC needs to stop for a second. Not dump, just stop where it is, right? Just hover around there for at least a week. If BTC can give us 1 week of complete break, or maybe 2 weeks of break, right? Longer the better, maybe even a month, right? Because if it's a month, then it prolongs itself for another month or two, right? It kind of resets everything. So if BTC just stays stagnant for a month, right? Of course, for me, it would be difficult because I won't be able to predict anything anymore. But I'm okay with that, because that would give alts a chance to start pushing up forward. You know what I mean? So that's what we need, because everyone's just jumping onto BTC. There's people are on alts, and then they dump their alts, right? And they jump onto BTC again because BTC is moving. That's where you're going to make the money. You go in 10x of BTC, that's where you're going to make the money. Yeah, to a certain extent, right? You know, like on the meme coins, we're doing a lot more money on meme coins. So a lot of people are making a lot more on the meme coins. So guys, let me know if you have any other questions. I'll give you guys another minute, or two. If you don't have any questions, then I'm not going to make this any longer. We've been on the stream for 1 hour 30 minutes. This recently I think this is the longest one. Again, I was not intending to do that. We got into other conversations, a little bit of history and whatnot, but just keep in mind, that's what I'm saying, keep an eye on your news. I don't watch news, you guys do. Keep an eye on the news and have a plan, right? And on the meme coins, if you are trading meme coins, obviously we're not going to be there watching them all the time. If you make profits, make sure you're making profits more than what you've invested. That's your profit in the asset that you invested. And if you've made 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x, 10x, right? In fact, today something apparently did 12x, right? If you did that, and you've seen it's doing this, or you've observed it and like, okay, it's done that, get in there and take it off the table. There's no harm. Come back tomorrow and play something else. You know what I mean? Come back tomorrow and play something else. Like in my case, I saw that and I was like, well, hold on, it's showing me I'm 4x or something. But because Solana price has also moved up, it's devalued in Solana value. So now it's only showing me that I'm going to get like double. It wasn't even double. It's like 40% more than what I put in. So I was like, is there any point? Because I want double. I want at least double, right? That's my target. If not, then I'm just break even. So yes, I've made 40%. Great. I would rather sacrifice 40% and take my initial out, right? But I want to see a double. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm in there for. I want to see a double. If I'm going to play meme coins, I want to see a double at least. Well, don't go to meme coin for 10-15%. What's wrong with you? So yeah, that should be fun. That should be fun. So if there is any question, please do fire away. I'm not going to talk to myself. If not, then yeah, I'm gonna call it quits, and I'm gonna be on my merry way. By the way, a lot of people don't know, so this is quite funny. KR was here earlier on. I was not far from KR, let's just put it this way. So I was probably about, I don't know, 20 miles away from where KR, the area, I'm not saying where it is, but the region or the area or the borough, whatever, where KR is, was about, I would say, 20 to 30 miles away from there. Currently, I'm right now actually sitting in Slough. So I'm sure I told someone, I said, so I was there and then I was driving back. I said, I'm looking for internet because I was on the motorway. There was no good stable internet. So I've literally got off the motorway. I wanted to go and get myself a little snack and some drinks. So I went and got that. And then I parked up on the main road. Literally, this is the main road. This is the main road. So I just parked up and I was like, you know what? I've got good internet here. I might as well just do this stream. So literally, that's it. And now I'm going to jump back onto the M40. It's not even the A40. I'm going to jump on the A40, which is just up there. So I'm going to jump on the A40. Sorry, M40, which becomes the A40 back towards central London. So I've got a good, I think about 15, 16 miles towards where I need to go. So yeah, I got a nice little drive. So if there is no other questions, I'm not going to talk anymore because I don't want to fry your brains. And because I know a lot of you guys maybe think, what the hell is this guy talking about? Here's the fun part. I don't even know if you guys are actually even watching. Some of you just listen. But yeah, if you are here, if you want me to talk about something, by all means, I would happily do that. If not, as I said, I'm not going to drag this any longer. I do appreciate all of you guys coming here. If this is your first time, my name is Sham. This is 0x5, and yeah, we talk about all sorts of stuff here. It's not just crypto. It could be anything. I don't normally talk about politics. I try and keep myself away from politics because I only believe in myself, and I've always said this: if I vote for anybody, I'll vote for myself, right? So if you guys do want to see a prime minister or president, and if I'm allowed, then I will vote for myself, and I would want all of you guys to vote for me. I'm joking, but no, I don't do politics. I've never been involved in politics. I just, nah, not my cup of tea. Just because of what the end results are, and you know how even a good politician doesn't really stay good. So do I want to be part of that? No. Do you know what I mean? So no, definitely not. But yeah, we could talk about anything. So if you are here next time, we'll talk about anything. I'll sometimes burst into talking about aliens or whatnot. I'll talk about anything. I don't care. And when I do talk, what you are going to hear is my own opinions. So I'm not here trying to plagiarize somebody else, right? Take somebody else's work and talk about it. This is my work. So if I'm telling you something, I'm going to give you what I feel is the thing, or how I feel about it. So at least you're getting a complete different perspective. Because what's the point in me telling you what Plato did, right? If we're talking about Plato, for example, oh, Plato did this, Plato did that, Plato said this, he did that. What's the point? Everyone knows. I will tell you what I think about Plato, what I think about his allegories, what I think about all of the crazy stuff that he wrote about, what I think about Atlantis. I will tell you about that rather than telling you what he wrote. Everyone knows what he wrote. If everyone doesn't, they can go and read it, right? So that's his work. Do you know what I mean? But where's my opinion on that? So I will give my opinion on that. And by the way, just in case you're thinking, we can have a whole conversation on this. Do I think there was an Atlantis? I think there was something. But there's another story we can talk about another time. Of course, I'm open to this stuff, so I'm not here just for crypto. So 0x5 doesn't necessarily mean crypto only, right? Could be anything. It is what it is. But other than that, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. As I said, if you are here for the first time, I would appreciate if you can hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Share with one another, and let me catch you guys on another one very soon. Other than that, adios, my amigos. Thank you.